Welcome back to Stationeers, and it's time to finish our cold gas furnace. We've got, well, it's not going to be cold, it's going to be a hot gas furnace, more like pure gas furnace. I'm not quite sure what we should call the thing. In any case, furnace without explodey stuff, essentially. So in here we've got our heating room from last episode, and I'm going to make a few changes. I did have an active vent here, just like we have in our hydroponics heating room. Except that I really don't like this solution of having an area power control on the outside. So what I thought I'd do is have some kind of regulated, setup. And instead of using a Schmidt trigger, for example, if I want, say, between 10 and 12 or 10 and 15 or 10 and 20, I could use a Schmidt trigger to do it with a single volume pump or something, but it's actually easier to just go with a couple of regulators. So to do that, we're going to want these set up before we get to this. So what I'm going to do is put them around about here anyway. We're going to want the power and everything else. Let's just rotate this first of all. So we're going to want that going down, I think. So I'm going to send the... Yeah, that should be fine. Because what I'm going to do is put one here-ish. Will that be able to rotate? Yeah, I think it will. Yeah, I'll just need to remove the passive vent. But we'll put one on here. And I'm going to change this one to a back pressure regulator and put it the other way once it rotates. No. Why wouldn't you let me... You really can't put them... Oh, because one needs power. Yes, and they're both power. So, okay, we'll have to put them one separate. That's fine. Okay, so back pressure regulator, forward pressure regulator. Okay, so let's just decrease... Oops. Let's decrease this to 0. And we want to say... Can we get this to... Tell you what. We'll just use the new mechanism to do it. And set this to, let's say, 10? Maybe 15. Okay, and this one we're going to set to 20. Make sense? Probably doesn't. Let's explain. So here is our pipe that's going to be coming from our tank. And this is going to be hot gas, all of it. But if we just grab some pipe, what we can do, or what we should be able to do, let's just grab those, is bring that pipe out and around. I want to say, is that going to be one straight, and then maybe a curve? Yeah, curve, corner, V, let's just get it to the right place. And then we're going to bring it into the top of the regulator. Like that. In fact, that's not actually going to be quite right. We're going to need a T-junction there. Okay, and then just straight pipe. And we'll do the same thing here with just a corner. And straight. So what's happening? This is going to be a high pressure line, well, high volume of moles line. And from here, this is going to be set to 10 or 15. And it will try to maintain whatever's on the inside to 15. This one, if it's set to 20, why isn't that set to... Did I not get that right? It's very odd. I'm sure I set that right. Maybe I didn't. I'm sure people will let me know. Yeah, so let's say 15. I'll probably press the cancel button instead of the confirm button. That's... there we go. So 15. So it's going to try and maintain whatever's below this to 15. If, however, it gets too high, let's say 20... This one's going to open, and then the gas is going to be able to return that way. Now, I'm not quite sure what's going to happen is if on this side it's actually too high pressure, but if we do need one more thing, then all we need to do is put something like a volume pump here and just have it essentially making a one-way valve so that when this opens, it can always return. Okay, I'll leave it out for now, but yeah, in fact... we may well need that. Why don't we put it in now, just in case we do need it. And if we don't, people will clearly let me know. There we go. So let's just grab that. And we're going to put this in as well. So let's see the volume pump. And is that going to have the... Please don't have the power on the top. There we go. That's good. So the volume pump will then set this to its minimum value. 1 or something. Let's just get that set. And there we go. We just need then some power. And then we can have this wall set up. So this, again, because we've got these 3 things, we shouldn't need any electronics to keep this pressurized. The only thing we've got to watch out is to... is if we want to depressure this room without... Well, we can just open the doors, turn off the pressure regulator and open the doors, and it will depressurize if you can afford it. Otherwise, what we might want to do is have something whereby you shut the... Well, in fact, you can do it manually. You can shut this off, and then you can set this regulator down to 0, and it will open. That will evacuate the entire area without an airlock control. You get the idea. Hopefully. If not, let me know in the comments. I'm more than happy to explain it, but it should be fairly obvious. And then we're going to just put that into here. And let's see if I'm going to need to... Let's just rotate you. And then we'll do the same thing. And then I'm just going to need to remove that wall again for a second because it's going to need me to just link up that final piece. Right about there. I'll assume I can get to it. There we go. So that is that piece done. And that should work quite well, I hope. I think. We'll see. Let's grab you and just weld this back up again. I'll probably need to do this a few times in this episode, but I just want to get everything sort of sorted before we do anything else, which means I'm probably going to need to make more heavy cable. I extended the cable from the inside here out to run about here, so I can run cable around the back if I need it, and there is cable right there, so I can also run it down the front if we need it, and that's probably where we should go with these. Let's just leave everything to the heavy cable type. Otherwise, you'd have to have some kind of junction between heavy and light cable, which probably means that a power connector of some kind. So let's just grab you and you. How much gold do I have? 25. That probably means we have enough for 50 cable. I'm not going to need 50 cable, so that... because we've already done a lot of it last episode. At least I hope not. Yeah, let's just leave that running for a minute or so. Okay, so we've got the refill system. The heater system will... probably have to use a Schmidt trigger. I was trying to avoid it, but at some point we can probably just do it manually to start off with, and then just reproduce that Schmidt trigger from, you know, behind here. Let's just where do we do? Crowbar this. There we go. So you get the idea. This same setup that we've got here with our 2 values. In this case, it's 343, and what was the other value? 373. It's going to have to be much, much higher. Now, I did get a comment from, I'm not sure if I've mentioned this already, a comment from Andir, who said we need to have, for a temperature range, is somewhere between 1,000 and 1,500. I'm not sure if that's Celsius or Kelvin. I'm going to assume it's Celsius. It's only going to be a few hundred off, if not. That's fine, but the problem with the alloys, well, actually, no, the problem with Invar, that's the main issue. Invar has a much higher pressure than all the rest. Temperature, not so much. The temperature is just fine. Now, the way I was thinking of doing this then becomes a bit problematic, because we've got 2 furnaces running, and if we'd have to have 2 furnaces or a single furnace, and we'll configure. I think we're going to stick with a single furnace that we can configure. If we don't have some kind of configuration going on, you've got a single tank that is supposed to supply 2 different pressures with the same temperature in both furnaces. That might be problematic. We'll have to have a look at that one. So let me just get this right, and I want to say we can just have one more corner piece there. Let's just drop that for a second. Grab you. And then we can go with a 3-way junction. and then hopefully just one corner piece there. Is that going to work? That's going to be really annoying, isn't it, that corner? Yeah, that's going to be annoying. I'll sort that out off camera anyway. Let me just do that now. Okay, so that's fixed now. I had to move the door for a second so I could see where the cabling's going. You can't run a corner cable right next to where the door is, so I had to run it on the inside. You'll see it's just going sort of back there and around. So it is actually connected. We can turn this on. For example, let's see that. Yep, that's on. And I have also now enabled, just so that things can be regulated behind the scenes, back here, this pressure regulator. It's only set to 50 kPa at the moment. That's obviously nowhere near enough for that, but it just lets me test that everything is working correctly. So if I just grab our atmospheric stuff, so let's just take a look here. It's 50 kPa on the inside of the pipe network. This is obviously 2.1 kPa, i.e. the Martian atmosphere. And obviously, because this isn't on, everything is kept nice and separately, no leaks in the system, nothing like that. So that is working fine. Once I close this door and weld everything up, we can, of course, pressurize that. Speaking of that, I've put 3 pairs of consoles down just because we can actually do these. I'm going to have to hook these up to everything with probably a cable running off here, so I am probably going to need more of that heavy cable than I was expecting. But what we can do with these is the same as this that I've got here, except that we can then monitor the temperature of the room, the temperature of the tank, which I previously just had to keep pointing at these pipes for, and the temperature and pressure of the furnace. These are temperature and pressure as well, but temperature and pressure of the furnace. So what I think I'm going to do is have some kind of switch on here. And to start off with, we'll be able to pressurize the furnace to whatever we want, shut it off, and then when we finish using it, we can just recycle it. So we can open another valve somewhere, and we'll do that by switch, logic switch or something like that. And then we'll be able to pull that back out. So let's just quickly talk how that's going to work. Here we've got an input from our tank. That's eventually going to be 1200 degrees or 1250 degrees, something like that. 1250 is halfway between 1000 and 1500. So let's assume we're going to get to 1250. We're going to run that probably down and out to here. Do I have any? I may as well do this now, or nearly do this now. So we're going to put it around here. This is the input. Yeah. So that can go that away. All right. Now you'll see, you may have noticed I've moved this furnace back. I did get some good advice saying if you put the back half of this inside a block, it insulates things nicely. And once all this is done, we're going to insulate a lot of it. A lot of this will be hidden behind walls. I'm not sure if this will actually count because it's half in the block and half on the wall. It'd be very hard to insulate it if it didn't count, if we put the wall on the front. So I hope that it does. In any case, we're going to run pipes from here back this way. And we'll just run those pipes. We're not going to connect up just yet because I'm going to need various bits and pieces like, for example, a volume pump for this one, set to the minimum value probably. And that's one off, isn't it? But that's, I can probably run it that way and across. Yeah, that'll do. So I'm going to probably want to put a volume pump in here somewhere, and we're going to be able to control that while looking at our temperature and pressure. Before we add some electronics maybe later. The return line, on the other hand, remember that is two-way, not one-way, like maybe the input is. Well, the input certainly will because we've got a volume pump in it. But this output, remember, we can't really control. There is no separation of furnace from output as such. So what we'll do on the output is feed that back again the other way. But we will stop it from going anywhere with, again, a volume pump, something along those lines. And that will leave everything in the furnace, which should be nice and insulated, until we're ready to recycle. And recycle will just turn on the volume pump and turn off this one. So we'll just have them switching alternately or something along those lines. That should work, maybe? I'll have to think about it. But that will then feed it back to a filtration unit. So just like this one up here. There we go. How far in are you through this filter? It's not gone to error state yet, so this jetpack. Really, guys, please fix your jetpacks. 24%, so that's yeah, that's getting through that one. But the simple ones, the very light filters, they only cost either iron or steel anyway. Yeah, it's still 100%. So they're very, very cheap to do. And we're about to build an alloy furnace, which will make even the more expensive ones cheaper to do. All right, so 2 volume pumps controlled remotely, and then we should be able to feed stuff into this. And when we're ready to recycle, feed stuff back out through a filtration unit, which is set to carbon dioxide. The carbon dioxide, which is going to be hot still, is going to go straight back into the tank through, again, via another volume pump. Probably, we'll probably leave the volume pump set to 1 and active always. Do we want it on? The filtration unit actually may be good enough to do it itself, because its output tends to be essentially a good volume pump regardless. So maybe we don't need one there. And in fact, that means maybe we don't need a volume pump on this return line. Maybe we can get away with just a filtration unit. Because if we switch that on and off remotely, then it should do the job and it won't let its inputs and outputs mix. It's quite good at doing that. So yeah, maybe that'll be a good thing. Maybe I can reuse this this air conditioning unit, which is still broken. You can tell it's broken. I want to get another comment from saying about this. If you have a look on this, you'll see where the output is. The output isn't 90 degrees. It's pointing towards me right now, and it should be pointing to my right as I'm looking at it. So it's a 45-degree angle. Yeah, there's something really odd going on with that. But hopefully the... not the electrolyzer. Yeah, you see? Those different arrows? The filtration one, however, should be fine, I would hope. So if we have this back here, maybe we just run, well, maybe we put it on top of a block or something like that. Although we probably want to hide those pipes in some kind of, yeah, we sort of wanted it this height-ish, but the other way around. And we'll need to figure out what we do for that one. We need some kind of floor level, so I may need to put a block down. In any case, I'm going to fill that bit out of the system, and then we'll bring you back once that's done. Okay, so I think we're ready for a test, or at least very nearly. Do I have any more pipe, I wonder? Yes, I do, just a little bit. Let me just complete off this little bit at the back, and then I'll explain everything, where it's all going, etc. So, let's, whoops, jetpack. Really? Okay, and let's just put a straight in here for now. And then I'm going to want a corner. And I'll come back to the rest of that later. Okay, so end to end, here we go. Let's see if this actually works for you guys as well as it does for me. Well, at least that's the theory. So, we've now got our heating room set up. We've got this, and all this is doing right now is turning on these heaters because I just don't have enough gold to make enough heavy cable to keep everything in the heavy cable. So for now, I'm just going to do it manually. So if we have the door closed, we can just grab our computer and let's see. So we have 250 kVA. That's turned the pressure regulator up, and it's at minus 14.8 right now. Okay, so if I just turn on our pressure regulator and our back pressure regulator and a volume pump, what should happen is this side should increase to 10 or so, or 15, how was it set to? Yeah, 15. So that's going to keep going. You'll see its temperature is quite low, so we're going to want to warm that up a little bit. Let's pull the lever, and on go our wall heaters. Eventually, of course, that's going to be electronically controlled, but you get the idea for now. So here we go. You see the temperature's going up quite rapidly, because there's 4 wall heaters in a quite small space. And so you'll see so too is the pressure. Now what's going to happen is, as that pressure gets to 20, this is going to go open, and it's going to pump that back into this side. So we can control with just these 2 regulators what pressure is inside this room. Now you can change this if you want to. Instead of doing this, so you're feeding back into the same gas tank, you could have a separate tank somewhere of pollutant, for argument's sake, if you wanted a better medium to transfer heat with. And then instead of doing this system, you would just have that all this loop going in and out of that tank and not having this room connected to the CO2 tank at all. And then, you know, it's very, very simple modification of this. So here it is, it's at 16. Temperature's going up, fair enough. And if we have a look at this, you'll see the temperature's also following it for the tank, although that's going to take quite a bit longer. Okay, so we're going to want to, at some point, just have the same kind of temperature control, and we'll set this to, I don't know, maybe this bottom one to 1240 and or 1200, and let's say that one to 1300, obviously in Kelvin, so we'll have to add 273 onto that figure to get Kelvin, but that will get us there just with that electronics. I'm going to probably put that on the back, I think, just so that everything is going. In any case, this is increasing in temperature now, and of course once I've got enough cable, I'll put these in place, the consoles, and that will work quite well. So at some point we're going to get to 1200 degrees or so, and this back pressure regulator will guard against whatever we set it to. Will guard against that door blowing out, which is one of the things worries I had last episode. Fine, so once this is up to temperature, and let's just say it is now, close that off for a second. It's going to turn the wall heaters off just to be a bit more power efficient, and then this is going to continue, obviously keeping everything there. Let's just get to that. There it is. You'll see the temperature's dropping as the temperature on the tank is rising, just like our hydroponic system. Now, when we're ready to go further, what we then need to do, and I'll do this with more control later, but if we want to say pressurize our furnace here, right now it should be on 0. Furnace, no temperature, no pressure. So let's get up here. We'll control this this volume pump, turn you on, and you'll see this is now increasing. So if we go up there, that's going up higher. What we may have to do is change this from 1L to 10. But you get the idea. That's now pressurized our furnace to whatever we want to in both temperature and pressure. We can control the temperature on this side. Pressure we can control with that pump. So if we have a look at the furnace now, the furnace is still rising, probably because it's in the sun. But that is perfectly fine. And that will stay as it is. We'll insulate it just by surrounding all of this with blocks. Probably we may have to move, a volume pump or two. And then on top, you'll see the output, which is right here, is the same, because these two sides are the same at the moment. So once we turn this off, however, the rest of the network is not connected. There we go. See, that's the input network. This is the furnace network. And if we head up here, you'll see I've got a filtration unit. Filtration unit, the input is the output of our furnace. And just step up onto the top. There's a CO2 filter. I just grab one of my spare souped filters, 100%. And you'll see this at the moment has mixed gas because I let that passive vent feed a little bit of mixed gas into our tank to start with. So we're not going to have that anymore, hopefully. So we can then just make sure we turn off that volume pump down here, turn on this filtration, and that should disappear. There, it's all gone. Anything, in fact, pressure. Interesting. Pipe network, nothing. Pipe network, nothing. Interesting. I would have expected a little bit. Maybe it's too small. In any case, the rest of it should get pushed into this pipe network, which is going to return back to where we're pulling from our cold tank. But we're returning on the hot side of this pressure regulator here. So whatever we set this to, and this will probably be increased, of course. Whatever we set this to, all the hot side stuff will stay on this side of it. All the cold side will stay on that side. And then what we can do really is just surround this with various walls just to enclose it a little bit, get it away from the sun, but means that I can step inside if I want to and not have too much of an issue. And there, I think, is our complete system. Or at least a complete system will work once we're up to temperature. I'm not sure how long that's going to take, though, mind you. Let me just turn these heaters back on. We'll see if that can actually build up temperature. It's obviously going to build up temperature faster than our hydroponics because, yeah, that has 2 heaters. This has 4, and I'm almost tempted to put more radiators in there. We can get more radiators on the sides maybe and a couple at the back and lots of stuff like that. Or we could just turn those into T-junctions at the back and have like 3 more radiators there at least. And that'll just help make this follow this faster. Not world, pipe network. It's not quite it's not quite as reliable as you might think. Even just slight differences there to there. Pipe network, there we go. Okay, so that's going to be it, I think, for this episode. It's obviously, I'm going to split it up, maybe put some more advanced stuff next episode. I'll just need to go mining for more gold. I'm just a little bit out of time now to do that. But this is going to work just fine, I think, for any alloys at all. So if you have any improvements, like we did last episode, please let me know in the comments below. And for the next episode, we'll, finish it off with some more advanced stuff. In the meantime, I'm just going to go and get the, the circuit board sorted, some cable here. We will have to depressurize this again, but we have the controller here to allow that. All we do, if you remember, is just set this one to 0, turn this one off, and everything will just depressurize again. And I think that's it. Yeah, I don't think there's anything else on this this pure gas furnace we need to do other than maybe, add another couple of blocks here and then put our electronics and automate those various states. We could do it even with a computer, to be honest, just like our other furnace over there. But this one, really importantly, at least on Mars, we have free CO2. We have free energy from solar panels. We just have to make more solar panels, of course. That's going to be the main problem. Ooh, I did actually want to go and take a look at the batteries. Remember, those 4 heaters, that's going to be 4 kilowatts. And it's going to be pulling from this over here. Now, it's okay at the moment. Now, you see, okay at the moment, but we're going to have to watch for daytime. Ooh, a couple more heavy cables. We're going to have to watch during daytime to see whether it can keep up. If not, we'll just put more solar panels. I did get a question, or rather some advice about whether we could use a graph display to show battery levels over time. And sort of, but that's going to be something that you can see in Factorio quite a lot. I'm still wondering whether we can actually display enough information on the graph. It's not like I can change, the modes to 5 minutes, an hour, 2 hours, etc. What we really want to see is compare the value each successive day at noon or something like that. Because, if we've got enough of these batteries, it will absorb any kind of energy use at nighttime. And we can do that quite easily just by building more batteries, more cables here at the moment until we get to 100 kilowatts, that is. And that will work just fine. However, we do want to monitor that. However, that means some kind of really more complicated electronics that most of you guys probably won't want to do. For example, we can detect, when the sun is above head, at the maximum angle. We can then, write a memory location for the current battery level, the sum, and then we can do some kind of electronics to compare yesterday's to today's and stuff like that. But it's quite a lot of electronics. So maybe not. But in any case, I'm sure you'll let me know in the comments otherwise. So if you like this episode, we've got a pure gas furnace working, although we just need to regulate the right temperatures now. And yeah, we'll continue on with next episode with some more bits and pieces on it. So this has been part 2. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. Feel free to like, subscribe, share, etc. below as normal. And of course, as always, guys, thanks for watching. What are you on? 133 degrees. Still going up. Fine. Oh, and it's actually hit the back pressure regulator now. This has got to the point where this has opened, and this is now being fed back into the system. Cool. I like it. See you next time.